Well, hello there, SPAC friends and family. It's Tuesday, and it's shortly after 2 o'clock here on the West Coast. So you know it must be time for SPAC Chat. And we are gearing up for the best 70th celebration of SPAC. This one is going to be bigger and bolder and more dynamic. So I'm just going to start off with just a few announcements at the top of the hour. So first of all, please keep in mind price increases on January 3rd. At the same time, the discounted room block ends on January 3rd. So if you have not registered yet or you have not booked your hotel room, now is the time to do it before the Christmas holiday. We do have an opportunity of getting overflow rooms, but we will not know if we can get the overflow rooms until after January 3rd. And if we don't sell out the block, which we always do, then we won't have access to those rooms either. So please keep that in mind. Second thing, if you already registered for SPAC 2025, you need to download the Hooba app. It's on your phone. You don't have to worry. It's not going to muck up any of the other apps you have. But there is a lot of engagement going on, a lot of polls. A lot of our speakers are already putting out information. Some things we also need to capture an RSVP for, so that is on there as well. So don't wait until right before you come to SPAC to download the app and start engaging. The other thing I want to mention is this year we have 2 special events on Tuesday. One of them is the Valley of Fire excursion. It is a state park not too far away outside of Las Vegas where the famous Red Rocks are. We have models out there. We will have a speaker out there doing a presentation on natural light. It includes your charter bus transportation back and forth. It also includes a box lunch. It is something you do not want to miss. We will have models there. So if you do want to take any photos for your personal portfolios, by all means, that's the opportunity to do so. The other one is the golf experience. If you've ever been to Top Golf, Las Vegas has a new place called Atomic Golf that just opened 3 months ago. We have done a floor buyout. We have sponsors who will be sponsoring shooting bays. We will still have the longest drive competition. Food and drinks are included in that as well, and transportation back and forth to that event. So make sure those are limited seats. They will not be available after the first of the year. So if you really want to do that, jump on the website and add that ticket to your event. You also need to have a SPAC registration ticket. Also, our pre-conference tracks that are on Wednesday are filling up fast. I don't want you to miss out on that. So make sure if you need to add a pre-conference, please do so at any time before the end of the year so that we can make sure we have enough seats available. We keep those a little bit smaller because we want you to get 5 hours worth of really good education. With a smaller group, there's more engagement and all of your questions can be answered. Okay. That was a ton of information that I just gave you. And what I'm going to do now is bring our host to the board. Calvin Harrell, how are you doing?
Well, I'm well, Corey, and we're counting down the days. I know that you've been putting in an ungodly number of hours, especially with the holidays hitting us right now. I'm sure you have some baking to do for some gifts that you give away. I know you give away. And so there's so many moving parts in this thing. Today, welcome to another edition of SPAC Chat. No matter where you're looking from, we welcome you. Today, we have a sneak peek for some of our speakers. They will share with us information about their sessions and what they're going to be speaking about. One of the things that they've been told not to do is to give you everything that they're going to talk about here. This is really the highlights, the things that pique your curiosity, your interest. And as they share with us their information or share what they're going to talk about, you're going to find that you're going to be having conflicts. Those conflicts are going to be the fact that you're going to want to have one person in this room and another. You want to have one session, and you're going to want to be at another session that runs concurrently. You need to perhaps consider bringing two people to SPAC so that you can divide and conquer and have greater success for your business in the future. So, Corey, let's go. Let's bring it on.
Hold on. I just want to tease everybody because we have not formally announced this yet because I'm working up the graphics. But everybody has been asking me who our keynote speaker is this year. This year, our keynote speaker is no other than Rory Kramer, if you know who I'm talking about. He is a Canon photographer. He's huge on Instagram, huge on YouTube. He is not a photographer who takes a lot of pictures of faces, but his message and how he got into the business and what he does for his business is absolutely motivational and uplifting. So look for more information on our keynote speaker. Now, Calvin,
do you really think, Corey, do you really think they come for the speaker, the keynote, or do they come for the education?
Well, they come for the education, but our keynote speaker isn't an educator. He's not going to teach you what f-stop to use or any of that stuff. He's there ideally to motivate you. Get you excited about your business, your life, your goals, how to have more life-work balance. That's what he's there for. He is going to fill your soul tank.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Boy, oh boy. Raise the bar every year. Raise the bar every year. Let's bring them on.
And bring them all on. Random order. They're all coming in. Everybody's jumping to the stage, filling up our screens. There we go.
We got Neil in there too. He made it. How wonderful. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of SPAC Chat. I don't know if you've been here before. Some of you have, others have not, but we welcome you, and it's a friendly environment. What we want you to do is share with our membership, share with our attendees what you're going to be sharing during your session. I'd like you to tell them about what day and time your session is, and just give them the highlight, the top 3 points about your session. And then I might pepper you with a question or two, but share with us where we're going. And I'm going to get started first because Nancy's still working. She's got a project that she's going to be doing at 6:15 her time, I think, or somewhere around that. And so we want to get her so that she can be able to leave as soon as she's ready. So Nancy, jump on in and talk to us about what you're going to be talking about.
Well, hey, thank you so much. It's great to be here. I'm really excited about getting into Las Vegas and escaping some of the snow for for January, because we've already got a foot here. It's kind of crazy. So my talk is about, it's called Boutique Volume, the 60-day small business makeover. And that is happening Thursday, January 23rd at 8 a.m. So up with the early birds and grab that espresso and head over to the room for this one.
Absolutely.
This talk is going to be a little bit different from talks that I've done in the past. Everything that I've done in the past is primarily focused on dance photography. And although I'm going to be covering a little bit of that as well in this talk, I'm actually going to pack 8 weeks of actionable steps into 1 hour and 30 minutes.
Wow.
So this small business makeover is broken down into 8 weeks. And running a boutique volume business is a little bit different than running a boutique business where you're niching down and charging high, and a little bit different from running a pure volume business where it's all about getting those people in there and pushing them through fairly quickly and getting your customers serviced. And it's a combination of the two. It's bringing in more clients, not as many as volume, but more than boutique, and giving those clients a luxury service that brings them in and allows them to taste what you have, and then funnels them into something just a little bit bigger, and then funnels them into something just a little bit more. It allows you to identify your super affluent clients and funnel them into a different track. And then it also allows you to do things that pique your interest so that you're not bored with doing the same thing all the time. I know myself, if I only had to shoot weddings or only had to shoot babies, I think I'd slit my throat. But that's another story. So what we're going to talk about is the 3 business models, that being boutique volume and now boutique volume. And we're going to talk about 4 pillars, breaking your studio business down into 4 pillars. Mine personally are dance and artistic sports, mini sessions. Oh, that's a bad word to so many people, mini sessions. They hate them. They're cheap. You know what? I give them away for free. Mini sessions can be the best loss leader you will ever do in your life. 20 minutes spent with clients that get to see what you do, taste a great experience, and then into the funnel they go and on to the next level of your value ladder and what you have to offer. My pillar number 3 would be my model programs. And my model programs are not just geared to high school seniors. Oh my gosh, I tried that for years, like a decade or more. And it's very, very hard where I live to get high school seniors, that being the grade 12 crowd, interested in anything more than a cap and gown shoot. They'll spend $600 on a dress, and then they'll take a picture of that with a their grandma's car in the driveway with an iPhone. But they're just not interested in senior portraits. It's not a thing in Canada. And I have to imagine that it's not a thing in some communities in the US as well. So after many, many years of playing around with that, we developed structured registration for programs that run for 8 weeks and include multiple workshops, multiple photo shoots, and we service kids from age 10 to 18. We teach them real modeling skills, allow them to compete in actual modeling competitions that happen both online and in Canada, in Toronto. They go through auditions. They participate in fashion shows. And as a photographer, it allows me the creative freedom to try out new lighting techniques, to maybe learn something new and creative. We've been doing newspaper dresses with this program for the last 8 years. The kids love that. Mermaid sessions. This year we're doing balloon dresses. At Christmas time next year, we're going to be making dresses with cedar boughs and doing a fashion show of upside down Christmas trees. So just some really crazy stuff that feeds the creative brain. And then the fourth.
Seems like you're working a real solid niche. And building, breaking in your session is going to help people break down their own businesses after they listen to you to see, hey, is this a path we want to go to, or what pieces and elements of the program that you're going to share they can implement into their programs. Phenomenal.
Exactly. You can take any one of those 4 pillars and you can start with just that pillar, or you can bring them all together and you're going to be working a 40 to 50 hour week, but you're going to have a solid business, and that elusive 6-figure income is going to become a reality. My 4th pillar is the key to my business, and it's another one of those genres that scare so many people away. I've heard so many photographers say, oh my gosh, I hate weddings. And you know what? If I had to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and work until 2 a.m., and then go back and edit 2,000 pictures for one bride, I would, again, slit my throat. So that's not how we do it. We do micro weddings. Again, it's a boutique volume model. So we'll shoot 3 weddings in one day, but we include everything. So it's kind of like going to Vegas for your wedding. We include the venue, the officiant, a bouquet, a cake, a toast, seating for 20, all your photography, recorded music, and then of course we've got upsells as well, and it sells for $3,800, and we can do 3 weddings in a day. You do the math, that's a very profitable day. Now I have 600 pictures to deal with.
Outstanding.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be a very interesting 8 o'clock session. It's early,
like I said, but, for the espresso. Yeah. I also have a boatload of free training to offer anybody that comes into the session. I've got all kinds of goodies prepared. So yeah.
Fantastic.
I am hoping, I don't know how many people you got coming all together, Corey, but if there's 700, I hope you got a room that'll fit that, because this is life altering. It really is.
We have more than 700. The
Yay.
number keeps going up every year, and this year there's well over 700 people going to be in attendance. That's
Nice.
photography, not even counting the vendors that are going to be present. So no, we're over that number, and I'm certain that you're going to have a lot of interest, especially in light of what we're observing as people coming into the volume photography market. There's a different mindset for a lot of folks. They don't want to do huge volumes. They don't want to do cookie cutter. There's pluses and minuses for all of it. So I look forward to seeing what you're going to present on that day, as everybody
I'm
will
super
be.
excited. Super
Hey,
excited.
Nancy.
Very good. All right, let's
Nancy.
move over to Cheryl. Miss Cheryl Z, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
It's Christmas
Can you hear
time
me?
behind you, dear.
I know. I'm like, where's everyone else's Christmas? I thought we'd all be
Yeah.
there. This is my favorite
Wonderful.
spot in my house. So here we go.
It's beautiful. Share with us what you're going to be talking about during the course of your session, so that we can, so the attendees know what's going on.
I am from Central Pennsylvania. If you don't know who I am, Cheryl Bayshore. So my class dives into pricing. What are the mistakes people are doing? What are the things you can do to actually get paid your worth? And I always think that we as photographers undermine ourselves and we don't value ourselves and we charge too little because we're scared to charge more. So it's just getting into all the strategies and myths. And I'm a boutique volume shooter. I shoot basically a little bit of what Nancy does. I do cheer, gymnastics, and dance, and that's it. I've done the weddings and all the other things and the senior photos. And over the years, I've dived into what made me the happiest and made me the most money. And that was the drama girl, not even all girls anymore. Oh my God, I shoot tons of male dancers, boys gymnastics, male cheerleaders. So it's not really an all girl world anymore, but it is a very gorgeous, dynamic imagery that makes my heart smile. And when I started my business, it was not every girl is an Olympic athlete. Not every girl is the prima ballerina. So for me, hi, Bob. And Bob just chimed in. For me, it's all about how to make each athlete, because even dancers are complete athletes. Each athlete that comes in front of me feel like they are the prima ballerina, the Olympic athlete, the most special child in that moment. And that's because of that and the imagery and the pricing, I get the top dollars. And so it's, how do you get that? What are the steps to go from A to Z? And for me, it's any photographer can incorporate this. You don't need to be a dance photographer or a cheer photographer. The boy stuff, you can take all of the tips I'm going to give you and incorporate into it and change your world. How are you selling it? Are you selling online? Are you still, and I hope not using paper, but are you still using paper out there? If you are, why? What are you afraid of? What's holding you back? So for me, it's, and I'm there, I always do the one-on-one coaching while I'm there, so anyone can sign up for that. You know, you can always come see me in the trade show. I'll be in the different booths and doing some live shoots and things like that. So for me, it's grab me, sit down. I love wine. We all know this. I'll have a glass of wine with you at any time and help you overcome these fears. But my entire class is just start to finish. What are the 5 most important things for pricing? How do you get a mom to buy all? I yell buy all at the rooftops. You guys have heard me say it 1,000 times, if not more, is how do you get buy all? My goal is for every mom to buy all and spend the most money and then some. So I want them to buy all digital and print, because it's become, the print world has come back around again. People want them on their walls. They value it. If you could see my walls, they're all prints next to me. It's not just a tree. But like that, the world has turned again. And I think it's ever since COVID, people are valuing having things in frames and seeing their children. And if you make a child feel good, guess what? Mom feels good. Mom's going to buy all. So I always come back to that buy all. But for me, it's how do you get to buy all? What are the stages that take you. So it's really just my secrets, my strategies, what good pricing looks like, quality of your images, how do you sell them, all the different things. So if you're just dipping your toe into volume or you're a seasoned volume photographer, either way, I can help you transform your business. And my favorite moment, guys, and I'll end with this, is watching one of you photographers out there start to truly believe they can do this and make the money they deserve. All of you deserve, I would have to guess, a lot more money than you're making out there. And I would love to see all of you take that step.
You know,
So
it's
that's
interesting,
kind of it.
and
And we
I
have
appreciate
a lot of fun.
I appreciate what you're sharing with us. And one of the things I observe in both you and Nancy, you are actually sharing with
Very
folks
similar.
the evolution of the industry, the evolution of the volume
Yeah.
photography market. You know, nothing stays the same. You know, so many times we get into this idea that I have a workflow and that's how I want it to work, and it's going to be forever. No, it's not. You will have to continue to evolve to generate the revenue you want to create. Someone has a radio in the background. They need to turn it off. Thank you so much. So I hope you guys heard what I was sharing. You probably did because I'm very loud. But you're showing the evolution of business, and in particular our industry. And yes, I agree with you. Print products are very important now. What I want to see, and just as a sideline, what I would like to see is on television shows that they have family portraits and that sort of thing on the wall, school portraits on the wall, because we don't see that in the media, that TV
Right.
or other movies or other cinematic expression. It would be wonderful if we did, but you guys are showing exactly, hey, this is how we've evolved to adapt to the business for our particular markets, and I think that's wonderful. Hey, James, let's hear what you got to talk about, because you're going to be bringing some sports to the table.
We are, definitely. So my name is James Cryer. I'm the owner of MVP Sports Photos just outside of Chicago, servicing the Northern Illinois area and upper Midwest. So I have the unique opportunity in that I get to speak on Saturday at 10:15. So after everybody's had 2 full days of education and we've kind of blown our brains up and soaked as much knowledge in as we can, I get to bring it together on Saturday. And I'm really looking forward to that, because you're going to get a lot of information. I've been coming to SPAC for a few years. Definitely not my first time attending, but it is my first time speaking. And I'm super excited about that, because 8 years ago, I was a scholarship recipient. I went to SPAC for the first time 8 years ago. And I see this as a full circle moment, because we've had tremendous success coming out of COVID, because we started doing some things pre-COVID that people weren't doing when I first started going to SPAC. When I came 8 years ago, I said, how can we do extractions in volume? How can I do multiple backgrounds, multiple poses? And it wasn't exactly met with a round of applause, because it was a little bit more traditional 8 years ago. As Cheryl was talking about the evolution of the system, and people were talking about the different ways things have kind of progressed. We're going to talk about where we're at now. So in my speech, in my presentation, which is called Turn Up the Volume and Make More Money, what we're talking about is the different aspects of volume. So when some people think about volume, they simply think number of customers, how many leagues, how many dance studios, how many different places am I doing photos? That's only one aspect, because the other aspects of volume, or we're going to touch on as well, is the photo day experience itself. Photo day volume. What does that mean? Are you still only doing 1 pose, 2 poses? Why? You have the opportunity. We're living in a digital age where you can do multiple poses, but the biggest concern people have about it is time. How can I do multiple poses? I've only got 20 seconds. I've only got 45 seconds. We're going to talk about the efficiency within Photo Day, where you can give yourself the time to make sure you can get 5, 6 different poses, unique poses, not just facial expressions, but body movement poses, because that gives you some different opportunities that we'll talk about on the editing side. So we're going to talk about volume and the Photo Day experience and posing. So that takes us, once you've done Photo Day, into the editing. So we're going to talk about editing volume. What does that mean? You've got, I know I come back sometimes from a larger league. If I'm doing 5 poses per player and I got 400 players, that's 2,000 photos I've got to get edited. How do we handle that? How can you do it in an efficient way, fast, and get it back to parents? So we're going to talk about volume and editing. How can you do this? How can you do more photos faster? Different strategies, different ways you can do it. In each of these areas, we're going to talk about not just how I do it, but some other opportunities. Certainly, there's always more than one route to a destination. So we're going to talk about how to get there, but we're going to talk about different vendors maybe that can even help you to get there. And you've got to find the one that best fits your needs. But we're definitely going to talk about that. It's more images, more background options, just more choices for parents, boosting the volume in editing. And we're also going to talk, kind of like Cheryl was talking about, even on the sales. She was talking about some pricing, which is awesome. I'm going to touch a little bit on the sales volume mindset. Is how do you arrange your business and what you offer to boost volume? And it's those little things. How are you selling? Not just prepay or paper, but also how do you actually present it? Are you using an online gallery? Are you allowing proofing? Some people do, some people don't. But how are you doing that, and how that will all affect the volume and what you can do? So it's pushing that on the sales side, because ultimately, yeah, we want them to order more. If we can give parents more choices, if we can give them more options, then obviously they'll look at it and decide they want to buy more. And we've seen that proven out time and time again in my business.
James, I want to jump in there for just a moment, because you reflected on the language and the words, and the company was extraordinarily talented in considering their name. You said Photo Day. Are you using that platform for your product?
No, we're not. We actually don't use Photo Day. Is not our gallery. We use Got Photo. They're our gallery and a sponsor of mine. So, but we're not exclusive to that. Obviously, there's a number of solutions out there, a number of great solutions. It's about finding the one. We'll talk about those different options as well.
Wonderful.
And obviously encourage everybody to visit the vendor fair. The vendor fair has these same representatives there. You're going to have amazing opportunities to meet those vendors and find out solutions you didn't even know existed.
We've got more than 100 vendors.
Exactly.
And every solution that you can imagine that is needed, everything that you need for your business, other than personnel and a building, will be represented at our conference, including equipment folks. We've got camera manufacturers that'll be there with the latest and the greatest, with upgrades. And in fact, I'm going to push this in here. And right now, I think Lumix is offering a very special deal on a camera system for less than $2,500 that has everything you can imagine in it. So they're there. Sony is donating cameras for door prizes. Fuji has donated cameras. Canon, they're all stepping up. They'll all be present, along with lighting manufacturers and otherwise. So we're very excited about what we've been able to put together for this year's conference.
And to that end, one of the things that I'll be doing in my class for the people who attend mine, not only will people come away with a whole bunch of nuggets and ways that you can improve your business in different aspects of your business, but when we start talking about posing and the speed of posing and how you can get more poses in less amount of time, for us, one of the crucial tools we have is a posing mat. And that's an opportunity to speed it up. It's no more telling an athlete, turn right, turn left. Oh, wait, not that far. A little bit less. Oh, wait, no, not that far. We use a designated posing mat for their feet so they know exactly the angles. And now the angles are perfect for the lighting that we have set up. So I'm not just going to show that. I'm not just going to talk about it. But 2 attendees at my class are going home with those. I'm going to give them away. So I'm bringing them with me so that I can give them away. I want people to use them and have them ready to go when they get back to their studio back home.
Fantastic. Everybody likes a little prize at the end of their session.
Absolutely.
I think it's a good idea. All right. Well, thank you, James. And Jen, how are you? Talk to us about the art of life.
Hello. Good to see everybody. Some familiar faces over here.
Absolutely.
We're good. I am here in Atlanta, Georgia, and Art of Life is I always say we're an accidental school photographer. So we stumbled into this about 8 years ago, and the talk is really going to be, we always find ourselves saying, because we kind of came into this a weird way, man, how does the studio do it? Or how do they handle this situation? So we really want to open up our experience over the last 8 years and share our journey, because it's a little different. It's kind of unique. We come from a background. I'm not scared of weddings at all, Nancy. I'll go wedding with you any day. So we started in the world of weddings, and still do big, beautiful high-end weddings. So yes, we're there all day with the thousands and thousands of images. But we still have a heart for that, and we do a lot of corporate photography as well. That led us to schools and volumes. So we're really approaching schools with a unique, all-encompassing approach where we're covering everything from seniors to underclass to their marketing, photography, to sports. So obviously, I'm not handling 250 schools like some of these huge companies. We're definitely more boutique, but we're providing a lot of services to these schools. So it's a really unique approach. We kind of created our own thing because we didn't know any better when we started. We were really unique. And then thank goodness for SPAC. We came for the first time about 4 years ago to figure out how to do some of the things that were stumping us. So thank goodness for SPAC being able to share so much that we didn't know about the volume world. So we're excited. I'm excited to share a different perspective and kind of a unique way that we serve schools and a different look at serving schools in a fun way that I don't think has been shared before. So that's the plan.
That's the plan. What's the day and time?
All right, day and time. I am Friday, 8 a.m., Sonoma A. So.
Boy, we got some early classes. I mean, come on now. And I realize that for some folks, that's 12 noon. But for us West Coasters, we got to get up too early after staying up too late. You know, it's gonna be fun. Let's just say it that way, okay?
Yeah.
And let's watch the intake of alcohol. Well, thank you, Jen. Appreciate your information. Miss Di Murphy, you are up. Let's talk. Tell us what's going on with Tintype.
Hello. Oh, I'm so glad to be speaking at SPAC this year. I'm going to be speaking just like James. I'm going to be speaking on Saturday in Sonoma A, and we're going to be talking about managing client expectations, which just seems like the most boring thing in the world to be talking about. It isn't sexy like lighting or fancy cameras or posing or anything like that, but this is so important. So let me ask you something. Has anybody ever gone back to book a league the following year and find out that you don't get it back because of something that, even though you thought it went great, and they say, well, you know what? We thought we were going to get our sponsor plaques by Memorial Day, and we didn't get them until, the middle of June. Or you get a call every week from a client because they want this, and then the next week they want that, and then the following week they want something else, and and all this kind of stuff happens all the time. And so what I'm going to talk about is how do you manage all that? How do you make sure that you don't end up with all these surprises, and you can make sure that your client and you are on the same page as to what is going to happen during your time with them, your photo session, whatever it is, whether it's a volume program or it's a wedding or it's a headshot thing, whatever it is, doesn't matter, but your ability to, first of all, anticipate what areas you need to know about. How do you make sure that you have all the information that you need and that your client knows what to expect from you? That they don't think that you're going to photograph 1,000 kids in a morning by yourself, that they don't think that or that you're going to be able to turn them around in 4 hours. You have no idea what's in their head if you don't ask them or you don't tell them what the expectation is. Some things, I think sometimes we get caught up in that we do it every day. And so of course, everybody knows this is how it goes. Of course, everybody knows that they should wear their blue jersey rather than their white jersey because white blows out, the highlight, and so those are all the kinds of things that we're going to be talking about, is how to communicate with your clients. And then also what happens when you haven't communicated well and there's a problem, and how do you mitigate that, and how do you deal with that to make sure that you don't lose a client because of just some miscommunication, and how do you make it right, and how do you fix it, and how do you make sure that it doesn't happen again? So these are just strategies of just simple things to do. They're not hard, but you sometimes have to ask the questions about the elephant in the room, and I don't know why we hesitate to ask these questions, but sometimes we do. And so we're just going to go over some strategies about what to do before picture day, how to prepare, what you should be asking, and writing it down, make sure that they know what are the questions that could come up, and what you should be doing, how you should be communicating throughout the time that you're working with your client, what to do at the end of the session. So you make sure that you rebook this person for the following year, and also what to do to problem solve when things arise. So
Absolutely.
that's what we're going to be talking about.
Fantastic. I think that much of the information that you're going to share, based on what you're sharing right now, is becomes boilerplate for any interaction with a checklist of, do we have these questions asked and answered? And you could build out a text stream or an email chain, automated emails that would go out to get questions answered by way of the leagues or schools or otherwise. So that's fantastic. And I think very valuable, especially for those that haven't really locked in and locked it down. So that's wonderful. And that session is going to be on Saturday again.
It's on Saturday at 10:15 in Sonoma A.
Sonoma A, Saturday at 10:15. All right.
That's right. Be there, be square.
All right, Neil, step on up, man. How's the weather on the eastern side of this country?
Well, if not for being here right now, I'd be golfing, because we've had a cold spell, and today is the one day where it's 50 degrees. So fortunately or otherwise, I'm here with you, Calvin.
And I'm in California. It's 50 degrees, and I'm freezing outside.
Yeah. Well, I know about you guys in SoCal, so thank you very much. So,
Neil,
Jen,
if you're
an accidental school photographer, you and I are cousins. Because my background, just so everybody would know, I learned photography when I was in college at the probably finest wedding studio in Manhattan. It's called the Fred Marcus Studio. It's still there. The third generation, Brian Marcus, is now running it. They routinely do weddings where the photography is in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. They work with a lot of the Wall Street people. The kinds of weddings that go on are just not to be believed. So I learned you can learn how to do something and make money by being inexpensive. You can learn to do it well and charge a lot and make money. So my upbringing in photography was learning to do it well and charging and making money. So I moved to Washington a number of years ago. We had a very successful wedding portrait corporate studio where we would do over 300 weddings a year, anywhere between $5,000 and $20,000 out the door, plus what people would add on. Before digital, people would actually add on to the initial package. And then around 2009, 2010, one of my clients came to me and said, we want you to photograph our school. And after saying no repeatedly, I finally said, okay. And we decided that it didn't make sense to take one picture on the blue background for the yearbook, because we had real photographers. We could take the kids outside, do a mini portrait session. And that's how we started with one school. We're now up to hundreds of schools. And so my talk is going to cover a number of things, but it's really about profitability. A lot of people, when I first came to SPAC in 2009, 2010, everybody was what I call a legacy company. They all did 100, 200, 500, 1,000 schools. They were not so much photographers as only school photographers, and they were business people. As the industry has changed, more and more small studios are coming on board, more and more studios that are owned by photographers. And many photographers, as you all would probably agree, get into photography because they're great photographers, and they may not have a lot of business training or business background. I was fortunate in my career that I worked for some great business mentors. So I've learned a fair amount about business. So what I want to talk about is profitability. And whoever was talking earlier about charging more, and we don't charge enough, and we give too much away, and we don't have the nerve to charge what we deserve, I'm going to talk about that. I think when it talks about it in the recap is, how many times have you looked at a P&L with your accountant and it looks like you've got all this money, but then it's like, where'd the money go? So there's a saying that I'm very fond of. Sales is vanity, profit. Wait, let me get it. Sales is vanity, profit is sanity, cash is king. Okay, if you don't know where your cash is, anything else doesn't matter. The P&L is a construct for filing a tax return. You can't really manage your business. It's not a management tool. So we're going to talk about the difference between profit and cash, and we're going to talk about what are the things you could do to build your cash, and so that you could be more profitable, not just on a tax return, but really where it matters, in your bank account. And for people who have, a huge business background, I'd say this isn't the talk for you. But people who are photographers first and maybe a little bit lacking and maybe lean on their accountant a little too much, because accountants are great at filing tax returns, they're not often great business advisors. And they're not often really able to look at your P&L and help you figure out what are the tweaks you could make. So it's going to talk about what are the things you could do to really grow, not just your profitability, but your cash, so that every year you're generating more cash. Because at the end of the day, let's be honest, that's what we care about. Another thing we're going to talk about is that as we've grown, Dee was talking about schools that maybe didn't get what they wanted when they wanted, and some of the problems that creates. As we've grown, we've struggled with taking pictures. For us is easy. We can take pictures and we can identify the kids and we can do all that. But getting the schools what they need, as we've grown, that's been harder and harder. And I came across a great quote a while back that you don't rise to the level of your goals, you sink to the level of your systems. And that really solidified it for me. And I said, we need new systems, because whatever systems got us to where we weren't sufficient. So we've invested a lot of time and money over the last 2 years building out our systems that, I don't want to over say it, but we don't deal with the kind of problems we used to, where we would deliver things to the schools, if anybody can relate, when the school called and said, where is my fill in the blank? And then we go out of our way to get it to them. And I would say coming through this year, the first year our software was really working, I can count on one hand how many times that happened. So it's going to talk about profitability. It's going to talk about the things that kill profitability, the things that can help profitability. It's going to talk about charging what you're worth. One thing that I always like to say is, if somebody doesn't know who the best vendor is, if you're going to buy anything, and if you're not an expert in what you're buying, how do you know what the best one is? Well, the best one is usually, you're going to say, the most expensive, right? So there are benefits to being not the cheapest guy in town. So we're going to talk about profitability, how to grow profitability. We're going to talk a little bit about operations and some of the things you can do to become more streamlined, more efficient, and have better service to the schools. I think I don't really focus on what I'm going to be saying specifically and write it all out until January, just because we're still going through our Christmas season here. I think I'm talking 9:00 on Saturday. I think, Nancy, I'm sorry to say, but I hope nobody goes to your talk, because I want to have a private one-on-one with you. So I'd be very happy personally if nobody else was there. But I think what everybody's talking about, I'm going to be at everybody's talk that doesn't conflict with mine. I think it's a great lineup. And Calvin and Corey, I tip my hat to you guys. It's very, very exciting. The talent you brought together.
Neil, as you were talking, I empathize and understand precisely when things are going right. It almost seems like you're neglecting the school because you're not having a call or you're not talking to them as much. But in actuality, when things are going right and you're not talking to them, that's the most profitable time you'll have.
But they don't really miss us. They don't miss not talking to us, I've learned.
No. Putting out fires, that's for firemen. We're photographers that need systems that work and function accurately and provide the services that we promised in a timely manner. If we do that, they don't even want to talk. They want to sign a new contract.
And by the way, and the things we're doing for them that they're paying for.
Yes.
That definitely. They're paying for. Nobody go to any other business and tell me what someone's going to do for you for nothing. Not much.
Change the paradigm.
Nothing.
It's not free. Everything has a cost. If we're paying for it, they should be paying for it.
Yes,
we build it into the service, and it's just what it is. I mean, we have schools now that pay for a photo service at the high schools. If they're not generating enough profits, then we're going to charge them for the ID cards. And we want $8 a head. Done. $10 a head. Done. It's just how it has to be. So great, Neil. I really appreciate that. And of course, you have been a presenter before and have had great results, great reviews. And that always is given consideration when when speakers are selected each year. How did they do the last time they were there? So that's wonderful. Thanks a lot, Neil.
I
Hey,
entertain
Corey?
myself. I don't know if anybody else gets anything out of it, but I always entertain myself.
There you go. Corey?
I just wanted to jump on and to thank our Education Advisory Board.
Yeah.
They are a group of your peers who sit on the SPAC Advisory Board for Education. They read every single speaker submission, and I do remove their names, so they have no idea who's submitting it. I mean, I'm sure when they're reading the description, if someone slips it in, it's in there. I don't edit those, but it's really a group of your peers who go through, read every session description, and start identifying which ones. And I'm just going to say it again. We offer the most comprehensive education. So even though today a lot of it was about running the business, profitability, and all that other stuff, in the meantime, we also have demos on lighting and posing and how to do that. Not to mention, I'm going to mention, we have one-on-one coaching, folks. It's not extra. The signups are through the Hoova app after the new year. You can sign up for a 15-minute one-on-one coaching. If you know someone specific you want to be coached by, you can put that in. But if you don't, just tell us what you want to be coached on. We have a lot of who can speak to different topics. And then we pair you up, and then you guys set up a one-on-one time to go have a cup of coffee or find a corner or do something. We have plenty of space that you can do that to get some one-on-one coaching, because we know that everybody's situation is different. Someone mentioned not all the systems, there's no one right way to do things. It is what works for you. So at SPAC, our job is to provide you the best opportunities, the best companies. We're not going to bring in some lab that no one's heard about. All of our vendors are at the top of their game. And it's up to you to kind of figure it out and be coached along the way. So again, I always would like to give praise to my advisory groups as well as my speakers who submit. The other thing I'm just going to add in, we're a nonprofit organization, folks. So aside from me, who has to get stuff done, everybody from our speakers to our advisory board to our board of directors are volunteers. So everybody gives up of their own time. I think that's what makes this group such a wonderful collaborative group. So I always like to mention that, because not all conferences are nonprofit. A lot of them are for-profit.
I don't know what happened, Corey. You just got locked.
Oh, I'm back. Sorry.
Okay. All right. All right. Yeah, no, and there's going to be areas during the conference, actually on the trade show floor, where there'll be lounges where you can sit down and have a quick conversation with someone. The meals that we have, that we've gone over the menus and all of that craziness. The meals that we have, those are ideal times to have discussions, because you get around the table with 8 or 10 people and you can bounce a whole lot of different ideas across the table, and people have different approaches on how they would manage or facilitate corrective action or whatever they need to do. So this is it's become a family. It's become a family, and it's invaluable, the information that you'll receive in this 4 or 5 days that you'll be in Las Vegas. We truly look forward to seeing everybody there. We've got somebody that's really excited, Jim Cryer. Whoa! He's sharing nuggets of information, actionable nuggets for everyone attending. You'll leave with ideas to improve multiple areas of your business and turn up the volume. So he's telling you what he's going to do, but what he's saying is what everybody is going to be doing. And that's what's incredibly powerful. We've got people all of our speakers are volunteers from the industry. Now, they may be sponsored by, a lab or a supplier of some sort, and that's fine. But they're volunteering to come to our organization and present to the overall body information that has helped them to succeed in this industry. So I look forward to seeing it again and again every year, as I have for 45 years. So it's a wonderful opportunity for everybody that's coming aboard. All right, Corey, I think that winds us up. Do you have any other special announcements you need to make?
No, just make sure you book your hotel room, register if you haven't. If you want to do a Tuesday adventure, you can register still. Space is limited. Also, pre-conference. If you decide now that you do want to take a pre-conference track, they're still available on the website as long as space is available, because those are limited. And other than that, Calvin, we are getting close to Christmas and
that's what I was going to ask you.
And Hanukkah and Kwanzaa. And if you don't get the whole theme of this thing is we're going to continue the celebration for our 70th anniversary. I have so many fun little surprises, including 1,000 of us on risers to take a panoramic photo like they used to do back in the old days of SPAC. So please note that on the agenda.
Hold on, Corey. Hold on. You talking about the olden days where we would stand around a piano and have our picture taken as a group. There were 25 people in the room, and that was it. And that was husbands and wives. And the wives weren't even involved in the business oftentimes. So you're talking about history when you talk about 1,000 people on a set of risers. And we have to thank Andy. Andy is going to be there with his risers. He's trucking those risers in from Arizona. What's the name of the company Andy's with?
GPS Risers.
GPS Risers. He's been coming for years. He provides the best risers in the industry. I have several sets myself. And, when it comes to somebody that knows how to put together large group environmental portraits or environmental pictures using risers, he is the go-to. So we got to give him a real shout out.
Yeah, and I'm also going to give a shout out to Fuji, who is bringing us a larger camera to make sure that we capture that image beautifully. And they're going to be printing the panorama in their booth, so every attendee can go and get their panorama photo in a little tube to take home.
Absolutely. It'll be 8 inches tall by however wide we need it to be. With 1,000 people, you can only imagine. So I want to thank everybody for joining us for this edition of SPAC Chat. We are down to 5 weeks, Corey? 6 weeks?
Don't tell me. Don't tell me. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready.
Last question, Corey. Next Tuesday is the 24th, Christmas Eve. Are we going live on SPAC Chat or are we not?
I don't have anything planned because Christmas Eve, I'm German, so I start celebrating on Christmas Eve. So if you want to, you guys can all just go onto Facebook and send me a message, or you can pour yourself a beverage and cheers it to Calvin and I, because we will not be live on Christmas Eve.
There we go. All right, so there we have it. The announcement's been made. I had to bait her into that. We are not going to have SPAC Check next week. We will return New Year's Eve. Will we do it New Year's Eve? Corey?
You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me, Smalls.
I know. We got to have this one ironed out. We'll let them know. That's all we can say. We'll let them know. We'll put the announcement through Hoover, and be sure you've signed up on Hoover, folks. That's a tool that's unbelievable. We'll let you know through Hoover. We'll let you know through the Facebook pages what we're doing come the end of the year celebration. I might suggest that everybody brings a glass of champagne and we have a toast. Looking forward to seeing you all at SPAC 2025. Have a wonderful one. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
You,
see you all soon.
Bye-bye.